Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
A little excited and a little bit early there, but good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, and you are tuned in for our very first, she's no stranger to the Java Cafe, but I reached out to the team and said, hey, let's get the mayor in on a monthly chat similar to, WGBH, NPR. And quickly, shout out to the Chief of Communications, Jessica Pierre, and also Ricardo, who made this happen this morning. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring in our mayor, and we're going to chat with her this morning about a few things. And on the move, as always, Mayor Wu, good morning. I almost said Counselor Jesus. Mayor Wu, good morning. Good to see you in the room. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm I guess on the move, but most of all, I'm late as usual.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just a couple minutes from City Hall, so eventually I'll take you up through the belly of the building to get to my office, and then be in a stable place in like 5 minutes.
The back room, and then I also heard that I saw that the elevator finally got upgraded back there in what we used to call the Bat Cave.
Well, the back elevator is still broken, so we'll get to go through the right. It's still the back elevator is still broken, but we did get it.
And as you all see, the mayor is in transit, and so there may be a couple of times where she gets a little spotty, which is understood, and so we appreciate. There she goes. She's back. We just lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I'm back now. Yep.
You're good. We understand. And so let's just name the last time you were here, you weren't feeling that well, and we had to sort of abbreviate your time for you to go take care of yourself. And as we always do, we check in. There's a lot going on. You're a mom mayor. And so we have to ask, how are you doing as a person, as with all due respect, Michelle, and then we'll check in on the business.
I'm feeling good. The playoffs are definitely messing with my sleep a little bit. Every night the kids are like, when are we watching basketball? And then they're staying up later, and then we're going to bed later. But in general, school vacation week was a time where I really said, we're taking family time, and I cleaned the entire house for the first time since the campaign. So I'm in a good rhythm right now. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. There's a lot, going on. And we had the meeting Saturday, and I'm always trying to move in some things and whatnot, some other things that I've been definitely trying to sidebar with you about. But I'm doing pretty good. I'm in a good space. The sun is out, and so I'm pretty good. I know your time is short, and then we're going to have to transition. And so maybe we can start with something that is very important. I keep thinking, this platform was founded. This platform moves in the space of COVID, and we know that COVID numbers are going up. We're still trying to ensure that people are getting properly vaccinated. Those that are 50 and over can get their second booster if they have compromised immune systems. But I get the report, and the last report didn't factor in Easter and the marathon numbers. And so where are we with COVID, Mayor Wu? And a question I'm sure that's on everybody's mind, and you and Dr. Basola are probably looking at the data and numbers. Where are we with COVID? And then if you could end that with what consideration is being given if we may have to return back to mask mandates in indoor places, because I've been out and I'm trying not to go back in my bubble.
I know. So the numbers have been a little mixed, and it really depends on what you mean by numbers, because I think since the beginning of the pandemic, we had been focused a lot on the community positivity rate number.
That one, yes.
But that really depends on how many people are actually testing, right? So if fewer people are showing up and we no longer see these long lines to get tested, and fewer people are worrying about it, maybe they've had it, maybe they feel like they've been fully vaccinated, or sort of they're mentally checked out from COVID. So as that number of people doing the testing goes down, it really kind of skews a little bit what the testing percentage is as well. So if you just look at that as a percentage, it has been going up. But the numbers that we are following really closely, in addition to that, are the hospitalization rate, because that really shows you how much our healthcare system's absorbing, how sick people are getting, but also the wastewater data. That is the one where no matter what happens, you're still using that toilet. And you're sorry, it's
You're good, you're good. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so that is the best possible tracker that we have. And in fact, that one, unlike the hospitalization rate, which takes a while to kick in because you're sick way before you end up in the hospital, you're spreading it and you're potentially contagious way before you're checked into the hospital bed. But the wastewater data comes even before you feel sick.
Because you're using no matter what, you're using a bathroom.
No matter what, it's coming out.
So
and
that's real.
Those poor souls who are, I guess it's just like a technology. Hopefully people aren't having to do it day. But anyway, there are actually sensors within all the sewer systems. There's a north system, which includes Boston, North Suffolk County, and then there's a South Suffolk County system as well. That's how it's tabulated. And we're actually looking into how we potentially can put these same sensors on our school buildings in the future to think specifically about collecting school data and all that. Anyway, but the bottom line is that that's the best predictor. It's ahead, and those numbers have actually been going down the last couple days. So it's kind of mixed right now. Again, we don't know if it's because people were away during school vacation week, and so there's just less being deposited into the system. So this week is really important to kind of keep looking for this next set of numbers.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Mayor. And
I'm here at City Hall outside, so I can kind of go off camera and try to keep talking while I go upstairs.
Okay. As long as you can hear me, and these are sort of not as intense questions, but if you can hear me, the BPS superintendent update. I know there's a search committee, and you're looking. How are things developing with that?
They're going smoothly. We just had I popped in on a session, I think it was 2 days ago or yesterday, I can't remember, where school leaders had a specific session with the search committee. And some of those, we've had public listening sessions in multiple languages. We have some coming up that are focused on not even having English as a primary language and then other translation, but having other languages as the primary language. So there's been Spanish language sessions. There's going to be Cantonese and Creole and Vietnamese. And so
again, the mayor is
feedback and hearing from our school communities. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead. It just paused a little bit. I was just letting folks know. Go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Just getting out of the elevator. Okay, I'll give you a look into where
you never ever forget those hallways and the ceiling. I see pictures on Facebook sometimes. Look at all that wonderful art.
This is the main lobby area. So anyway, the search committee is incredible. They are coming up with a summary of what exactly the feedback is telling us, and the applications are open. So there's a search firm, and they're going to be recruiting candidates and making sure that people get their applications in, get vetted, and then soon it'll be at the stage of interviewing candidates by the search committee as well.
Awesome. And with our commissioner update, I know that there's been a search committee there. How are things going with the police commissioner update search?
Yeah, the police commissioner. So there's an official job description. We kind of finished. Well, it's never totally done in terms of the public engagement piece of it, but they are a little, I would say, like half a step ahead in terms of having created that job description already and opened applications. I think the window to apply is until the second week of May or something like that. And so they're actively recruiting candidates now.
Okay. One other one, I saw the announcement yesterday, additional 1,000 youth jobs that you
Yes.
have committed. And so awesome. And thank you so much for turning it to the side so we can get rid of the black bars. And so tell us a little bit about the youth jobs, 1,000 additional jobs. Feel free to make any pitch to any business owner, whoever's watching, because I saw Brother Rashad's plea to actually it was Neil who, oh my God, I ain't going to say he was around when I was a PIC student.
For both of us, yeah.
If he's watching, sorry. But tell us about the youth jobs, and then we'll transition into our, kind of more intense issues.
So this is a place where I've been really excited to see just how immediately you can move the needle within City Hall, right? So as you know, I had been on the council for 8 years, and every year we were banding together. I have been at protests at the State House. I've been at marches. I've been at events saying we need more youth jobs, summer jobs, and also term time jobs that are paid, that are for our young people in the city of Boston. And there's so much good that comes out of it. And the ask for years had been, we want 5,000 youth summer jobs to be able to make a dent in the need and the appetite in the community. And of course, the pandemic messed things a little bit, and these jobs, some of them went virtual and hybrid and all that, but we never got up to the 5,000 number. And so, or we finally did last year, but didn't fill all of them. And so this year we've said, well, we're not going to keep that 5,000 demand of the community for so many years, but up it to 6,000 youth summer jobs. Now, it's in some ways, I don't want to say easy, because every little change requires so many incredible city staff working on so many pieces of it. But when we say we're putting 6,000 jobs in the budget, that doesn't, I want to be clear, it doesn't mean 6,000 jobs are going to get given unless young people and community groups and mentors to young people actually tell them about it, and that we get the word out and people apply. Because we've not, even in the past, when we've given out we've budgeted for a certain number of jobs, the process is a little clunky. And so we need to make sure that we're actually filling them and people know about it.
I am asking the team in the background to get me the information for the phone number and website, and so I can make sure that is made available to those that are watching. And so, Mayor Wu, we're about to go into an area, a couple that I've been involved in, one of which that we've sat at Haley House, we've sat at City Hall, we've sat in the chamber, and we've talked about it a lot. We'll get to that in sort of last, because I want to honor your time. I'll start with Mass and Cass. I actually rode past it. I've been down there a lot. I went to NECAT for that wonderful culinary arts program that they're doing there, that when you get a chance, please go check out. They are doing some great work with some folks. But Mass and Cass is it's becoming interesting again. And not just in that area, but I saw folks. Where was I at last night? I was in Common Square and saw folks. And unfortunately, there's a presumption by appearance that they're dealing with that addiction issue. And so where are we with Mass and Cass? I know you came in and did some sort of radical, revolutionary things as far as cleaning it up, but it's not an encampment, but the people are getting behind the fences that are up. So where are we with Mass and Cass?
We always knew that there's different phases of what Mass and Cass has looked like in winter versus in spring versus in summer, and that spring and summer are a different challenge. For me, it was really important that on the winter side, this was about saving lives and getting us in a good place to be able to have a different conversation in spring and summer. And so connecting people to more than 150, we're now at 180 people in low threshold supportive housing at this moment. And all those tents that people had previously needed taken down. We're in a different starting point now in April than we would have been if the tents had been, I guarantee you there would have been many fatalities if people had to be in tents all throughout the winter. With the blizzards we had, with the temperatures that we had, and the conditions that folks were living in. I feel very good about the energy and the resources and the coordination that went into that. Now it's a different matter where, okay, so 180 people, many of the longer term residents of the encampments have stable housing, but people still need community. They still need a place to go during the day. And when we have that concentration of folks still returning to the area for treatment and services as well, when there's a large concentration of people, it can be a magnet for the types of activities, illegal activities that are dangerous for everyone, including the larger community, right? Open air, drug trafficking, human trafficking, violence, even just recently for not just the, for multiple people in the area. And so we're working very closely now on what this long-term plan looks like, that we need to locate services outside the area so that not everyone's coming back in. We've now started providing transportation, free shuttles from that Massancas area to St. Francis House and Rosie's Place and other service providers. We're going to keep expanding the list of places that are on that shuttle route. And we've started working with folks to really try to get on a path. The New Market bid, for example, creates jobs for residents, former residents of the encampments and people who are living with substance use and unhoused. And so every bit that we can do helps, but there's always a swell of people as the weather warms up. And some people have housing elsewhere and are looking for community. And so we need to really come up with what that long-term decentralized plan looks like.
And I have to say, as much as there have been complaints, there was also an acknowledgement from folks like Yahara Lopez and Domingo around being engaged in this space. And so there's other couple of names that I can get to the team, but check in with Dr. Betancourt about Dr. Gene Lambert and his team. He has a very, very good perspective, Mayor Wu, and he was on and actually did a whole piece on Your Healthy Java with MGH about substance use and addiction, and has a very interesting perspective that I think you would appreciate, and his cadence. So definitely Dr. Gene Lambert. This is another space, Mayor, you and I have met about. I'll be very honest, you know, I'm very transparent, and this is a topic I've been struggling with in speaking with you today. About checking in about it. You know, for years, you know, we've met, we've talked, and you referenced the fact of being an at-large city councilor for 8 years. There are some things in City Hall that can move immediately. And so let's talk about the issue of youth, gang, retaliatory, gun violence, however people classify it. You know, we had the meeting on Saturday. It was an interesting process, building up to it with logistics. But we did have some folks that came out and sort of gave updates. And to just cut to the chase, one thing that I sat and thought about Saturday, Mayor, is that this is systemic, because some of the dynamics of 18, though people switched, there was still some of the dynamics that were there. And so we definitely have heard things, and I think you can appreciate, understand that the platform sometimes it opens me up to unsolicited opinions and information, text, screenshots, inbox. And between Saturday and just leading up to that, there are some concerns from the community, and I'll be honest, internally, you know, folks share and talk, that violence doesn't seem to be as much of a priority to move quickly and immediately in City Hall to get some things done. And I have the privilege, this is where We Need to Know came from, of talking with you and others. So I know that some things are maybe in the works and the concerns as well. But where is this violence prevention? We also want to name with that is domestic violence, violence against trans women and the LGBTQ that Quincy Roberts has really worked and raised there. Where are we with violence, Mayor? Because from the community and personally, it's a concern, and we're in the end of April and summer plan and with the whole what do you call it, cliche of that. And where are we with violence, Mayor?
Yeah, so in some ways I struggle with how we can, so okay, let me back up and say what I've realized in this job is that, and by this job I mean sort of government in general, is that it's important to do the work, but it's also important to make sure people know about that work so that they can be involved and help lead and guide and shape it. Um, Violence is an area where I think sometimes there's a tension, and I've talked a lot with our internal team about this as well, where we want to highlight and bring attention and shine a light on the urgency of every single instance of violence in the community because it is unacceptable. And there are families that are immediately impacted and continue to feel that trauma doubling down on them, which they then are carrying forward and is rippling out into the community. How to convey that while also understanding the bigger landscape, that in general, and again, it even sounds heartless to talk about numbers this way, that in general, the instances and the data and the statistics are that compared to where we've been, I think sometimes the perception can be that things are a lot worse than they have been. And again, for every family that's impacted, it is unacceptable, and we need to draw that light there. But there can be this cycle with the media sometimes, and I don't mean this platform, but this cycle of once you get onto a vicious circle of every little detail of everything being covered, and then it's spiraling into a different perception than what the reality is of both the work that's happening and the reality on the ground. And so I absolutely take the feedback and accountability that we need to externally show what we're doing. We've had a lot of internal conversations about how to make sure this summer, whether it's from facilities and spaces that are open or the youth jobs piece or the human capital and personnel and funding and resources that we're directing into the community are all connected. My philosophy is that we have to talk about violence, of course, as an immediate response that's needed, but also as getting to root causes like housing security and supports in our school systems and mental health. And so some of the way that we've been tackling it, I think maybe hasn't been articulated so clearly as being about violence, but everything that we're doing is intended to change the overall systemic dynamic, right? If you go to any school and you ask the school nurse what's happening with our young people, they are at their wits' end about the intensity of need, the wait lists for mental health services, the just number of young people who are really struggling right now. And we see many of the incidents are connected sometimes to the same young people who are experiencing that trauma and so much else.
So Mayor, with a lot of that, and I want to clarify one thing, and thank you for acknowledging that this platform doesn't, but I can say that, and I can appreciate, and I actually get frustrated sometimes with what I think it was Jessica that taught me the term legacy media, that, more traditional media can kind of hype up situations. But Madam Mayor, with all due respect, what's coming to me is not from perception of media. There are families, there are service providers, there are external contractors with the city, there are internal people there that it just, when you talk about what's end of the young people in the schools or the providers in this space, people are very concerned that it's going to be the same old this summer. And while on paper, and we know that our former boss used to say this, I don't care what the numbers say. If you're in the community and you're dealing with this, it's like every day. And so I get that. I saw the assertion in sort of a mental health promotion sort of piece. But Mayor, there needs, and I say this with all sincerity, I've been wanting to sidebar. There is an absolute expectation, urgency that the community has, because we've seen you move immediately and radically in some spaces, and we need that sort of same cadence in the area of violence. How do we bring folks that are atypical, whose Corys are this long, but they can have some impact? How do we ensure that the human capital within City Hall is capitalized in
Mhm.
manners that they are doing their best in the positions that are most appropriate to their talents.
Mhm.
And so that there is really a consensus that I found from Saturday. I'll be honest with you, it was more service providers, and I said the city staff, our community, but it wasn't the resident sort of non-engaged. You know what you call,
Yeah.
all due respect, usual suspects. And so one of the things I got to talk with Tiffany is that we're going to do a follow-up, and there was talk about you, Mike, Tally, and Tiffany coming to hear from the community. So we'll work on that. But in the last couple of minutes, when and what can we expect for a solid summer safety plan that's non-cliche and that is impactful in a manner that considers youth jobs are wonderful. BCYF is wonderful, but the folks out here, Mayor, outside of maybe some of those 11-year-olds that were in Macy's the other day, they don't go into the centers. And so, and this is not new to you. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I personally, and some of the community, we're at bay waiting to
Yep.
see that same demonstration of understanding and commitment to help what municipalities should be doing and can do. We understand the community responsibility. Dr. Falk
Yep.
has been,
Yep. Yep.
so I'll shut up. I'm sorry. This is, we've talked about this space many times, and it's one that I'm looking for more. I'll be very honest with you. And the families need more. The young people, the community, the neighborhoods, it needs more. Your floor, ma'am.
Yeah. We're going to make sure that the resources directed for full youth employment this summer, um, for support and targeted interventions when it comes to mental health and trauma response are all tied together, and that most of all, when it comes to violence in the community, that we are going to the people who have the expertise in the community. And so I think in some ways that's been the most important public facing step that kind of wanted to get our ducks in a row internally. But there's a long list that's been presented to me of different interventions and items and where we're scooping the funding from to be able to make a big difference this summer. And so I think next step is really taking that out, vetting, and then getting it out the door as quickly as possible. We're already, every day that goes by, we're already into, I mean, it's basically almost summer now.
It is almost summer now, and that's the thing that a few years ago, I think you were on the call of the electeds where we had that meeting where Representative Holmes brought everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that came out, and this is a little bit personal, but also from the community, SSYI one of the things that did come out, there needs to be an assessment of who's contracted, if they're impactful. And is it just sort of and you're familiar, the good old boys club?
Yep.
So a combing of funding that gives it to people in the community that are impactful and that the community agrees that they're impactful and not them just being able to write the grant. A good game. But Mayor, I know it's 9:30. I appreciate this. This is not our last. Our next session will be on Wednesday, May 25th at 12, because you'll be out doing your coffee hour in the morning. And is there anything else that you wanted to say and share with the community before we get ready to go? As you see, I have the youth jobs info here.
I think the only other thing that's been on my mind is that we've in some ways we've been shaken out of usual patterns for 3 years now. And when you're in politics and when you're really involved in the community, you're used to these annual events that happen, right? Parades and festivals and
press conferences and
galas. And
I know where you're going.
Right? And so we're now kind of getting back on that circuit, right? These parades are back on. This event is happening. The marathon came back. The summer safety plan and press conference and all that. And so it can be both reassuring that, okay, sort of life continues, but it can be also triggering in other ways because
and cliche, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I just want to remind people that, we're all feeling this out right now and what it means to, in some ways, be reminded of, but also tread a new path on these rhythms and patterns of being together and being in community. Every interaction that I notice, there's just a little bit extra there, and it could be just personal anxiety or, you know, lack of familiarity, or again, this feeling of unease of what does this mean in this moment. So take care of yourself, take care of each other, be patient with each other. And I think all of our communities needs a little bit of extra understanding and grace to sort of settle and reform and heal.
I'll text you my thoughts after that. But hey, last thing, because I've been encouraged to ask you one fun question: your favorite key to play in?
Ooh, A flat major. Some of my best
Major, not minor, major, not minor. Okay. Because I was going to say, if you were in the minor, Lord Jesus, your fingers. Okay, Mayor, thank you so much again, Jessica, the team, everybody there. And I will see you later today on Boston Common for the Embrace. You're giving remarks there. And so we'll see you later there. But thank you so much for being here today. I'll see you later, but you'll be back in the cafe on the 25th of May at 12 p.m. Thank you.
Right. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, everybody. We had our, as you saw, we just had our mayor in talking about quite a few things. Let me get the music back on here. And so please make sure you share this information with some young people around youth jobs. There's the website and there is the phone number. Rashad Cope is the director of that. And we're actually in the process now of trying to get him booked. I don't think it's on me. I may have sent, I think I sent the email, but we definitely texted about it and talked about it. And so please, there are many comments here, Jesus. Y'all know with certain guests, most of the things she moved on are related to violence. So you have a little loss. Can you talk about what the community can do in conjunction with her? And that's that's been the cadence. That's been the question. What can we do together? And I named also, you know, we have a level of accountability in the community as well, as parents, as community leaders, as people on the street, just to speak to these young people, as business owners, to be, you know, give them an opportunity. But like, you know, there's also some internal things that between convening, ensuring that there's proper communication that's on a municipal level, when we at the community level have exhausted everything that we can do, but definitely it's both end. Definitely agree. Chiron, Beverly, not impressed. Be nice, bro. Yeah. It was an interesting interview for me when we got to the point of around violence and whatnot and a couple of things. But, you know, the mayor touched on a couple of things at the end there, and I thought she was going to go a different way, but she talked about giving grace to ourselves and also each other in our interactions and coming back out, and also just, you know, just giving grace to each other. And so remember, at the foundation of it all, it's love, even when it's tough love and when you have to love from a distance. I don't think I have anything else. We will be live today I keep saying 1 p.m. It's at 2 p.m., but I'm getting down there early. At 2 p.m. today, we're going live. Mayor Wu will speak at the King Embrace Memorial. We're doing that at 2 o'clock. And then tomorrow morning, tomorrow's Thursday. I think I'm by myself tomorrow, the 28th. Thursday, the 28th, I'll be back with you at 9. And I think that's it. Friday, I will be going live from the Boston While Black Summit, Boston While Black Summit that is going on Friday. We're going live from there. Brother Quincy's doing a session. The people that will be on my session are Chief Millar from the city of Boston, James Mackey, and also Cindy Diggs. And so that civic engagement panel, that's going to be lit. So make sure you tune into that. That's it for me today, folks. I got a full day. So I got to get up and have this stuff up under here looking like something. Have a great day, everybody. Ma, the time is for Friday. I think my workshop's at 2:45. I have the logistics in the email somewhere, but I'll let you guys know about that tomorrow. All right, folks, have a wonderful day. I couldn't get to all the comments. Paula said DCF is over, caseload, high turnover, families, advocacies. We need to fund and expand programs and create new ones. Absolutely. But that's at the state level. But the city can advocate for policy at the state level and testifying stuff to counselors, the mayor, chiefs, residents too as well. I got Thaddeus's piece. Traditional media isn't touching the surface of violence in the community and inside the schools. Absolutely. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm reading the comments and not reading them to y'all. All right, I'm going to get off of here and go back and check on these. Thank you all for tuning in today. And we will see you this afternoon at 2 p.m. live from Boston Common for the Embrace Memorial groundbreaking. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, as the mayor said, to give yourself grace, take care of yourself, and give others grace as you can, as long as you're protecting yourself and your space. Don't let giving them grace mess with your space, mentally and in sometimes physically. All right, y'all got more comments coming in. They're not queued up, props. I got to get ready to go, but they're coming. All right, folks, have an awesome day, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Later today at 2 p.m. live from Boston Common. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.